Good afternoon. I am, hold on a minute here. I got to get in the right mode here. I'm going to screen share with you all. All right. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. Does it look sizable?
Yeah, it's filling up the whole screen. Looks
okay,
good.
Great. All right. So good afternoon, everybody. And I thank you for joining us today. We kind of had a short timeline on notification of this upgrade, which is entitled 1711 from Koha. And I know you're all busy with summer library programs, so I'm going to try to make it brief and give you a highlight of the enhancements to come. As you know from a couple of the emails I sent out, we are scheduled for the update to launch on June 23rd in the evening, and that happens to be a Saturday. So hopefully that won't disrupt you too much. There's some great new features that will enhance the patron experience. There's a few upgrades that will help on the staff client side that will help you manage patron accounts as well. There's a few cataloging features that we may start on our end. That would be those items cataloged here at CKLS, but you'll learn more about that here as I proceed. As with all updates, the first thing that you're going to need to do after July 23rd at 8 o'clock is to clear the cache. You'll need to do this on all of your staff computers and any computers used to access the OPAC. So I have some instructions that I've sent out in 2 prior emails, and we will make sure that we remind you again, and we'll provide a handout to those that you can access as well. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you this page. I have a link provided to this page if you're curious after the presentation today of a little bit more robust presentation. These are the webinars that we watch to find out about the upgrades and what's happening. You'll see the OPAC and public service user service upgrade. That has a lot of information. I am going to go on to the demo site for Bywater and show you some of these features, but a few of the things that I will mention are not available. So if you're curious, you can go ahead and watch these webinars, and they will show you a little bit more than I'm capable of doing. All right, so there's also upgrade notes. If you're curious, you can go ahead and look at those as well. What's nice is after we have these webinars, the users groups often submit questions, and Bywater then goes and answers the questions. So things that you would see in the webinar are answered down here below. So you'll see the questions and answers. So it is kind of a nice thing that they do to help people get as prepared as possible for the changes. Okay, so I'm going to go over here to Bywater. And okay, some of the first things I'm going to show you are the OPAC features that will be help your patrons. So Bywater has a demo client set up, and one of the first things that they've done here is to make the experience better is after the patron logs in, there is a new window over here. They call it the OPAC dashboard. Patrons can see in one glance all the information about their account. So you can see this particular patron has 2 checkouts, 2 holds pending, and a fee of $10. It's linked to the information, so I'll go ahead and just click on that to show you. This patron has these 2 items checked out, and it's a really kind of a nice, easy way for the patron to get right to the information about their account. One of the other features that they have added, and this is also on the OPAC side, we won't be able to see it on our side, is I'm going to go ahead and search a title here for cats. And let's see. Oh, hold on. I'm I think I'm going to look for dogs. Change tack here. What they have done is made a feature that will be able to add a shelving location column. So right now, and they don't have it active here on the demo, but you'll see right here that under the current location, it's in the general stacks. Once we turn this on, if you're a library who uses shelving locations, you will have another column right here. So this will help your patrons discover the item a lot faster. They can look over, find it, go right to the shelf to find the item. And I think it's kind of a nice feature. And it's just something that we will just have to turn it on once the update happens. Another nice feature that will happen for your patrons is when they go to log in on this, the landing page. Let's see if I can log out. They're not going to be able to see it here, but they're going to add a feature that they can log in with their email address. If they don't remember what their username is and they don't have that at hand, they will be able to do that. And I think that's a really nice way to get to your account a lot faster. So this is another really good reason why we should be asking our patrons for their email address. So if you're not doing it, I would really highly recommend that you start doing that. Recently, in fact, I just got done answering an email from Frank Carlson. We've had some issues with email notifications that are not being delivered. Part of the IP address is being blocked, and I think Mary Beth and I have talked about this, and Andy as well, because the notifications are coming from pathfinder.org through a secondary source. I don't know what that is, secondary source, it's blocking the IP address. So now the email notifications will be coming directly from the home library versus pathfinder.org. So I'm hoping that cures that. Plus your patrons will see an email from the library they recommend, and they will probably be more likely to answer it. Another feature, and we really haven't talked about this as a group, so we'll probably be having a Trailblazers meeting to kind of hash out some of these things. There will be the capability to have a Google authentication used to access the OPAC versus having to log in using your own unique login information. I'm not sure I know a whole lot about this, if it's just going to be a one-time login option or if it's going to be something permanent, but I need to do a little bit more research. But you probably have seen this yourself. You oftentimes will go to a site and it'll say you can log in with Facebook or your Google account. And one of the pluses is for your patrons is you don't have to constantly remember all the logins, all the passwords for various accounts. It's just going to go right straight. Your Google account would be the go-to account for information for this. Let's see, let me get back into the demo here. Get back and show you some other things. All right. So one of the really nice things here is the patron can go ahead and look at their holds, and will now have the option of suspending their holds in one fell swoop. So you'll see this suspend all holds. You can choose a date, or the patron can, to suspend until, let's say, they get back from a vacation, or if they leave it blank, the holds will be suspended indefinitely, and they don't have to go back and try to remember the items that they were interested in reading, and they can return to this and then go ahead and reinstate the holds. So that's kind of a nice thing for your patrons. Go ahead here to the personal details. They have added, as you add patrons, a salutation box. So now patrons have the option of having a salutation. I'm not sure how many people want to take advantage of this, but obviously enough people asked for it that they felt like they needed to add it. And we can also configure the ones that we want for our patron database. So if there's something that you want us to add, let us know. Here is something that we do not use, but I do want to point it out to you because it is kind of a collection development feature. And some of the things that they've added at Bywater are, I mean, I'm not really sure why they did it, but I kind of like them. So here you see that this particular patron has added these titles for suggestion. So I'm going to go up here in the new purchase suggestion. And if we decided that this was something that you librarians really are interested in, we could certainly activate this feature and choose the fields that you would like the patron to populate. What they did add is a quantity. So if a patron wanted to have a book club and wanted you to buy, say, 10 of a title, they could put that in there. Now, certainly it's up to the discretion of the library and the budget if you can do that, but it is a collection development tool that might be worthwhile. You can see the different item types that they have from Bywater already populated. So if a patron wants this in a book format, they can choose that. What's really kind of cool here is that you can isolate it to a particular branch, so that if they only wanted your library to buy it, you could choose that. Or if they wanted any library within Pathfinder to consider this, the all button would be available. So it's just something to think about if you're interested. We could always give it a try, and it might be helpful in making your collection development a little easier. Another option, another really kind of nice thing for the patrons is in the list section, we now are able to have cover art that goes along with the lists. So this is a list that was created. So now the picture shows next to the book. So just another enhancement for the user experience. Some of the things that can be done in terms of creating lists that may not necessarily be something that we would use, but there are systems that have a lot of electronic resources, and if this is something that we ever went to, you can create lists with bib numbers or barcodes. So another option that's available to create lists. So I could see this if we ever had, maybe you wanted to create a list of titles and there's an overdrive selection. We would be able to find maybe the bibliographic record for that overdrive selection, and that could be part of the list. So that might be kind of nice for patrons that are using, which I know Crystal can tell you, overdrive is becoming much more popular. So that might be something we want to explore as well. Okay. One of the other things that's a possibility is a stronger password configuration option. Anybody that does online banking or has a credit card or does anything that requires a password has probably experienced this. So if we decided to go forward with this, it would require a stronger password with 1 digit, a lowercase letter, and an uppercase letter. And this would only be from when we turned on this preference forward. So all of those accounts that already have established passwords would not be affected. It would only be accounts that are created, or those accounts that a patron or a staff member goes in and resets. It would have a box that would prompt you to populate all of those fields. And we also have the ability to still limit the number of characters that we require. I think right now we require a minimum of 3 characters, so that would still be the case. So it's just something for us to all think about as we think about the options that we'd like to include here from this update. One thing that will help with schools who are using self-checkout, and also I think we have maybe one library out there that has the self-checkout module, you'll be able, the wording has been changed in the box, and instead of it asking for a barcode, it says enter card number. So just a little difference in verbiage to help patrons and know what to put in here. I'm going to go over here now to the staff interface and show you a few things. Put in our Bywater patron. Turn that down. Okay, so here's the staff client side, which we're most familiar with. And one of the things that you'll notice is a new box down here that says holds history. So oftentimes patrons put things on holds, and they put a hold on and they forget about it, and they don't know what happened to it, if it's disappeared or what have you. Well, this is a nice feature for you to look at. It gives you all the information about the holds history. You can see over here, there's a status. These 2 holds are pending. These were canceled. It would give you, if it was actually in the library waiting, you would have this column populated. Also, there would be expiration dates for the holds if that's been set. So I think it's a really nice feature, something we've never had before. You can see that I put this on hold 3 different times. I was trying to test another feature that they've mentioned, but I could never get it to replicate. There is the ability to see the damage status of an item to stop you from placing a hold on it, but I could never get that to pop up. So I'm hoping that once they actually do the update, we can be able to see that a little bit better. But they were having a little bit of a struggle replicating it in the webinar as well. But it is something that instead of someone choosing the item that's in a damaged or lost status, yet that will stop you from doing that.
Margie, I have a quick question about this.
Cool thing. Say you have a patron at the desk and they want to check out a book and they're not really quite sure the title, and they certainly don't have a barcode. We'll be able to do a keyword search. So let's say it's it has the word cat in it. Got cats on the brain. So here it's going to pop up the following items that it don't necessarily have a barcode, but it has something to do with a cat or whatever in the title. So let's just say that this is we know for sure that this is it, Cure for Your Aging Cat. You have the option of checking it out from the screen versus having to copy and paste a barcode in there. So I kind of think that's a neat little thing.
Margie? Margie, we have a question.
They call that the item fallback search. So it's kind of, I like it. It's kind of neat. And one thing that I did find is that with the way that Koha or Pathfinder searches, if that particular word is mentioned anywhere, even in the record, maybe in the description, it may pull that particular item if it's not just isolated to the title. So just beware that you might get a little bit more than you bargained for when you use that feature.
Margie?
And I do want to back up a little bit about that holds history. It's only going to work if the patron has their circulation history active and you're able to search that. So that's one thing about the holds history that is has a condition to it. Okay.
Margie, do you Crystal had a question about a previous.
What are the cataloging features? And I'm going to pop over to our catalog and show you this. There's a new feature that they've enacted. It will allow catalog records to link and show the different formats available in the catalog. So I'm going to go over here. And let's see, I'm just going to put in girl. Okay, so you can see right here in Pathfinder, we have Gone Girl. No, I'm not. I don't hear. Gone Girl in 3 different formats. So if I was at the cataloger of this book and I wanted to make sure that my patrons knew that we have this in large print, that we have it in the regular book format, and we also have a video format, I can go into the large text version and go into the editing part of the record. And over here in the 700 fields, I've added the 776 additional physical format entry. So I could go ahead and put the title of Gone Girl in here, and then the record control number from the other two formats, and link all that. And you can duplicate this tag here and do this numerous times. So you can see it's really, while it's a lot of work for catalogers, I talked with Crystal, and it might be something that we might want to try, but you know, if you have say you have a patron who likes large print and you think they may really benefit from knowing that that book comes in an audio version, it would be really important to cross-link those two so they can find it. And it just takes our catalog another step for the patrons at being able to find different things and to meet their needs. So hopefully we can get that going here in the future. Okay. There will be a new report that they are offering, and I don't think I can replicate it here, but I think a lot of the librarians may find this worthwhile. It's going to be able to capture membership renewal dates, so you'll be able to see when your patrons renewed. So it will give you a more accurate listing of those patrons that, you know, that are turning over and coming back to the library to renew for services. Just for some other maintenance items, there's going to be a new import patron tool that you can create a list. From a list, you can then create a file that will be created that you can then batch item modify. So for the schools that we have that are moving kids up from grade to grade, this is going to be really nice, and it'll be really easy for them then to just batch item modify an entire class. You can also use this tool to change the home library. So say, for instance, in the situation of Hoisington, they have 3 different school locations. They can then change a whole class to a different home library, which would be really easy for them as well. There's another option for cover art. Right now, we are only getting our art from Amazon, but we will soon be able to get it up from Google and Open Books. So that might be something we may be able to have more cover art available versus being just at the mercy of what Google provides. And this is only going to be visible on the OPAC side right now, so not available for staff, but at least our patrons will be able to see it. There's going to be a new table that will be developed that we can look into having available, and it's going to be an accounts offset table. So for instance, if you're looking at all the fines and fees of your patron and you want to know what's going on with it, it will give you the entire history of that patron account. And this will be going forward from June 23rd. So it'll be a nice snapshot of all the things that happened with an account and how things were handled with payments and what have you. And there was one question that someone asked from the audience when I was listening to the webinar, that this could also be used if you had a report that was written for all the credits and debits that came from this accounts offset information. It might be able to help you control more about the money that's coming in and out of the library from these types of fines and fees. Let's see, that really hasn't taken me too terribly long, but that's pretty much what we see that's coming up the pipe here. There's a couple other of things that are probably be on the back end that we may look at. There's a ability to turn on the organizational field that will help us know who pulled records in, which I'm not sure, we have to kind of talk about some of these things, but it will kind of help a little bit more with our catalog maintenance and record management. And all in all, I don't think this is going to be a traumatic update. I think some of the things are pretty simple. And well, actually, I think more of them are really nice in terms of for the patrons. So if you don't spend a lot of time going onto the OPAC side, I would encourage you to do that, because it helps you understand what the patrons are seeing. And if you don't think your patrons are using it, think again, because I know a lot of patrons have discovered this, they can renew, they put holds on items. And one of the nice things about Pathfinder and just Koha in general is it's really, it really adjusts to whatever format the patron's using. So on your telephone or on, on your smart device, your smartphone, on your iPad or whatever, it's really responsive. So I think the more and more people that we know that know about how they can access the catalog, I think we're going to have more people finding it convenient to do a lot of that at home. So,
Margie, can you hear me? Margie, can you hear me? Margie, if you can hear me, Crystal had a question about another part of the upgrade.
I can't hear anybody.
I was just asking about the waiting list feature. I can't remember if it was for the holds, but at what point the waiting list had the date populated.
Could you ask me again, Crystal? I couldn't hear it.
There was a section, and I can't remember if it was the holds. I kind of lost the place where we were at. I wrote down waiting list. There was, it kept track of when a thing arrived and it had waiting lists. I was wondering at what point is it when they check in the item that the waiting list has a date posted to it.
Are you talking about the holds history?
I believe so.
So this would be the holds history is, so for instance, when I would, yes, if the item came to my library and I checked it in, the minute that transfer is completed is the waiting date. So okay. That's what you would see in this column.
So when it arrives from the courier and I check it in, then that's the date that'll pop into that box.
Right, because right now you'll see right here it's pending because no one's filled the hold. So as it moves along, you would see the waiting date. And then the expiration date may be set up if we have that set up. And I'm not sure if we have that.
I think when you place a hold, you can put an expiration date. Like you don't need it after this date.
Right.
So I think that would be what that was.
Right.
Yep. I did have a question too.
Sure.
On the OPAC side, can you show us what it looks like on the home page when you're logged in? Because I think there is a feature there that I really liked, and I don't remember if we got to that one or not.
On there?
Yeah, on the home page on that. Yeah. Yeah, over there on the right hand side.
Okay, I'm gonna log out and log back in. Okay, so are you talking about this part?
Yeah, or? on the right hand column after you log in. And then go to the home page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I just like how it shows them, no matter what, that they're back on the homepage and searching. It reminds them that they have checkouts and holds and fines.
Yeah,
and
I think this is really great.
It's just a simple thing, but I think that's really cool.
Right. And you can see, I don't know if many of you noticed that we did update our landing page and we've changed some things around and what have you, but they've got information embedded over here. I'm not sure that we necessarily need that, but there is a little bit of flexibility with it. So if there's anything you have a question about, or if your patrons think would be nice to add, let us know. So, but yeah, I think I would like this, just knowing right away what I have going on. So any other questions?
I don't see any in the chat box.
Okay.
And I was just going through my notes to see if I had any. But you got them all. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, there's a lot of things that they have. Well, there's a couple other things that I've kind of keeping an eye out for. There's a option to have an overdrive. To have an integration with Overdrive so that patrons can do a one-stop shopping type of thing of understanding what they've already checked out from Overdrive versus what they've checked out within Pathfinder, and they're still working on it. It's all of the bugs on our side have been cleared, but now we're waiting on Overdrive to authorize the interoperability. So once that gets going, I think that would be really helpful too. So then patrons don't have to log into Libby or log into this, and it'll just be all integrated. So I think it would be helpful. I don't know about you guys, but I don't like to log into 5 different things. I just want to go to one place. So
I do too. I like it to be tell me what's going on. So
right.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I think it should be pretty painless as long as everybody remembers to clear your cache. And I'll just tell you, I will not be here on the day. I won't be here on the 24th. So Mary Beth will be here, but clearing your cache, we have a lot of ways. We've got the tutorials up. It's not hard. It's just remembering to do it on all the computers that you have in the library that either you access or your patrons use to access Pathfinder. So
Yes, and on that Monday, I'm out of town as well, so it'll be Mary Beth manning the fort on the first day.
well, we
you guys! I can handle it.
I know you can. So we didn't get to pick this date. It just got
thrown on us, didn't it? So, yep.
Okay. Well.
All right.
That's it.
Well, thank you everybody for coming, and I did record it, so we will have it up on our YouTube channel by the end of the day.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.